Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Morning.
Morning.
You got that sun.
I got that morning sun. When we do this 8 a.m. I can see the sun directly out my window. I've put a couple of tinted sheets over my window so it's not too blasting, but you can see the lower half here where I have the window open. It looks like it's like a ghost. The ghost story.
You know what it looks like below you? It looks like the end scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark with the light where they take off the Ark of the Covenant.
I kind of like this look. Light, the white on the bottom of my beard, the white, it feels like I'm descending into heaven.
The white in the microphone.
Yeah.
You join Bill Walton and Jesus.
Joe, you're here a little early.
Jerry West, I was gonna say.
What are you doing here? It was just a few weeks ago. I left the world in your hands. Jerry, I expected you here. Honestly, I thought you'd beat me here. Joe, this is a little confounding.
Bless his heart, Bill Walton.
How was your Father's Day, Andy? This is now your second Father's Day?
Yeah.
Getting the hang of it?
I mean, it's like my dad always said, it's another day, you know?
Yeah.
Went to the in-laws, we'll say that. They have a pool, so we did a little family get-together. Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Grilling out, you know.
Did you get any gifts? Did you get a tie or
I got well, first of all, I can't believe she pulled it off without waking me up.
get breakfast in bed?
Well, my two girls, they went to pick up some Dunkin' Donuts for me.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how, because she's loud. I don't know how. I heard the garage door open. I just thought she was throwing away like a poopy diaper or something. But no, I woke up and walked downstairs and there was a sausage croissant sandwich and my famous, Boston cream pie donut, which I love. So I got that. What else did I get? Oh, I want to rip DVDs to digital. My dad has so many DVDs and I have all my dad's old videos. So she got me that. And then I actually bought this for Isla, but it was kind of for everybody, but she's going to have to return it. A giant Connect 4 game, a giant one.
Yeah. Like an outdoor,
cause she likes to put the rings on the thing.
Yeah.
She can't play, but cause we played it last week. We were at some restaurant that had it and she was obsessed. So yeah.
From using Connect 4 to lure people home from West 4th and Jane to playing it with your daughter. What a 5 years it's been.
Oh, life comes at you fast, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Isla, this is the game I used to play to lure women back to the apartment I called the Smut Shack.
You make it sound so rapey. You used to lure women.
Yeah.
We were engaging in conversation.
I got another 4 I can connect with you, hon. Just come back to the Smut Shack.
We were engaging in conversation those days and just getting to know each other and, see where the night went.
Loser of this game's got to eat the other one's butthole. Nice. You were ski dog.
Yeah. Those were
the days.
But yeah,
literally no one will get. Maybe Smith.
Dude, Smith takes some serious friendly fire on a call.
What? Oh,
Smith
on the call we have on the show?
I think, was it Smith who left the call about I believe it was because he follows college basketball. This UConn men's team not being that good.
Yes.
Somebody did a condoms for at the end and just scorched the earth on Smith's take on that, saying it's one of the all-time worst takes in Dirty Sports history.
Listen, we're not big college basketball fans, but like I understood the sentiment.
Which was what? Remind me.
Well, I mean, also like in terms of like the talent on the team as compared to in the past when guys stayed longer or blah blah.
But I think the argument was this UConn team again, 2 straight years. Now, granted, they lost a lot of guys in the NBA and they're gonna lose a lot of guys again, but it was like they're basically nobody's touching them.
Yeah.
Even UNLV had one great run to win
Right.
it. Then the next year they lose to Duke. And the argument is like, it's kind of why don't I just play the damn call?
Okay.
Because the call's related to basketball as well.
Okay.
So
great.
So we could hop into a little because the call starts with an NBA discussion. Let me just play it.
Hey, Joe and Andy, this is Ethan, number 1 half dirt baller, and I wanted to call in to get you guys' take on this. So I just listened to Jeff Teague's podcast where he talked about how he really doesn't enjoy watching Kobe Bryant play. He said that it just looks really difficult and like he's trying too hard, and they just didn't enjoy it. And he kind of contrasted it to Kevin Durant and saying how everything KD does is easy and it's smooth and it's just more enjoyable to watch. And so I wanted to call in and get your guys' take on like what would be your top 3 or top 5 guys that you least enjoy watching play. Now, obviously, I know that, this is the number 1 Kobe Bryant truther podcast, but I also saw some people in the comments talking about how Tim Duncan might be on that list of least enjoyable guys to watch. But, I wanted to get your take on that, your top 3 or your top 5. And stick with me here because this is the first time that I've called in a while, and I haven't had a reason to call in before today. But condoms are for whoever called in a couple months ago after March Madness and said that this UConn men's team is the worst national championship team that they've ever watched. That's one of the worst takes that I've ever heard somebody say. And I would almost put that on, in fact, I would put it on the idiocy level of the people who say that Kobe Bryant is a top 5 NBA player of all time. That's one of those takes that I hear from someone who just doesn't really know the game, and very, very casual take. So had to let that one out there. I appreciate you guys and stay dirty.
I don't listen. If that was the Smith sentiment, I don't agree. I don't know. I don't remember him saying it's the worst national championship team.
Yeah, I agree. I
don't think that's what he said.
I don't remember.
I could be wrong. I don't know if somebody else made a call where they made that boisterous claim. I understand this. Listen, there's 2 different things here. One, we've talked about it a million times. Like every sports evolve, right? Like the idea that this UConn team wouldn't beat this UConn team would beat the shit out of that UNLV team, even though they were blah, blah, blah. It's just like the game evolves. That being said, I think like in terms of like saying the overall talent on the team versus say like the Kentucky team with Anthony Davis and all the guys that come out of there and go to the, like, is this team on par with that team in terms of talent? I understand we're looking at it knowing what those guys have done in the NBA and not knowing what these guys will do in the NBA. But, even if you look at like my Knicks team, which is basically being led by 3 guys who are on the same national championship Villanova team. Like, I don't think top to bottom that proves that Villanova team was as talented as, say, some of those Duke teams, some of those UNLV teams, or the UNC team, the Kentucky team. Like, I mean, there was a time in UNC, remember when like we had like the years where it was like Stackhouse and Rasheed Wallace, and it was like just like guys who went on to be like elite NBA players. And I think the conversation was about maybe this UConn team talent-wise doesn't stack up with them. It's certainly not the worst NCAA men's champion of all time. That would be ludicrous, and I don't think anybody said that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's again, I don't follow it closely enough. I think this is I'm trying to remember his call. I think he was basically just saying the talent level, the game isn't as good because of the one and dones. Because I think I believe that's what he meant. Like UConn's mowing down these teams, but it's the quality of the game. That's what he was saying. I think on the original call, the quality of the game of college basketball just isn't that good at this point.
Right. And then and this team dominating against that talent doesn't necessarily prove this is the greatest team ever of all time.
Yeah, and
now at the same time, like we've said, like you can't go 15 years back and tell me, like, I don't care who's on that team, but you can't go 15 years back and tell me that this UConn team wouldn't wipe the floor with them. But again, just like dominating lesser quality doesn't make you better than a team that did.
Well, it's the argument of the 90s NBA, right? The
Right.
NBA was so watered down in the 90s with expansion and lots of bad teams, and that's kind of been the knock, at least from people who actually view it correctly, on the Jordan era.
Yeah.
It was definitely a watered down era.
Yeah.
You can't really debate that. It sounds like it's very similar. Now, his original question, I think, is interesting. The first or the 3 to 5, like not unwatchable, but most unenjoyable.
Yeah, least enjoyable players.
I think we're both going to agree Carmelo was I never really enjoyed watching him.
Kobe, Carmelo.
And I agree with Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I agree less with Tim Duncan. I mean, it might be boring, but it's like Tim Duncan, people don't enjoy Tim Duncan the way people don't enjoy a 1-0 baseball game. And yet I enjoy Tim Duncan for the same reason I enjoy a 1-0 baseball game. I was like, man, there's some good defense and some good pitching. And they're like, nothing happened. And I was like, oh, yeah, the guy throwing 98 with a fucking 9 inches of arm side run and painting the outer half of the black. Like that something's very much happening. So I always enjoyed Tim Duncan from just like obviously the big fundamental and just like the way the game moved through him offensively, defensively, whatever. Like my bigger, obviously Carmelo and Kobe Bryant are like great examples of guys. Just like, I don't like watching selfish basketball. I don't like a guy getting a ball, it's stopping him, not fucking moving it. Like just like, I mean, Paul Pierce is kind of on that list.
It's funny you said he was on my list.
Paul Pierce is a guy where it's like, okay, cool. Like, and you know, the thing, Kyrie is a ball stopper, but like, at least Kyrie, like there's something to it. You know what I mean?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm glad you brought up Paul Pierce because he's a guy I actually wrote down. Paul Pierce, conversely, I always enjoyed watching Ray Allen play.
Mm-hmm.
Right, his own teammate on those Celtics teams. It's like it was just a fluid, good shooter. It was just a different vibe. And same way with the Lakers, I always enjoyed watching Powell play.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's not just about ISO ball stop. Like Allen Iverson is a crazy fucking ball stopper, but like
he was fun to watch.
Yeah, Paul Pierce, just like, you know, a guy who's like game I appreciate, but was never fun to watch for me was Mark Jackson. Just like a point guard, backing guys down. Then like, you know, you either have this like little post game or the pass out to the fucking thing. It was like the pass out to Reggie Miller. It was just like slow. It was methodical. There was like a technique and a fundamentalness to it that I enjoyed. But at the same time, it's like, you're not that great a point guard if you need your back to the basket to do it. Like the way I enjoyed Steve Nash, like infinitely more than I'll ever enjoy Mark Jackson. Like Mark Jackson was a guy who was like tough to watch at times. So that's, you know, I got Kobe, Carmelo, Paul Pierce, Mark Jackson. That's my list right now. I'm trying to think if there's like I mean, there's so many bigs that are
I
like
was just gonna say
miserable to watch, but at
like
the
a
same
Rick
time, like,
Smith was so like, and I know he wasn't a star, but a guy like him comes to mind when I think of the NBA in that era. You're just like he's gonna be one of the main guys on those Pacers teams, but you're just so boring to watch.
yeah.
So many bigs are on that list.
You know who's on the like? I appreciate his game and he's talented, but like Zach Randolph was always super frustrating to watch.
Yeah, that's
Just
a good
like a
one.
ball stopping
Big
that
dude,
like takes bad shots a lot of the time. Like
back you
he's
down.
sort of the original Julius Randle for me, especially as a Knicks fan. The original Julius Randle for me, probably maybe like I would say both super talented guys, but at least Randall passes the ball. Like Randall averages like a fair amount of assists. Again, like probably ball stops the offense more than I'd like. We'll see what should happen if he's still on the Knicks next year. But Zach Randolph was like, what I don't like about Julius Randle, Zach Randolph had in like tenfold.
Yeah, I totally see that. And truthfully, obviously I was used to be a big Kobe guy. I didn't hate it at the time, but now that I've changed my view of just basketball, I see it now. When I was first living in Los Angeles and I was drinking the Kobe Kool-Aid, but now I watch it, I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
The back down fade away.
No, I mean, I'll listen. I'll add one, and people are going to call me a hater, but like post first retirement, Michael Jordan, like early days, Michael Jordan, it was so much. There was so much more basket facing, transition, ball handling, like
game change for sure.
Late career Michael Jordan, post first retirement into obviously the Wizards thing, just like getting the ball on the block, the leaning back, the fall away jumper. You're just like, okay, cool story. That's it's one of the all-time hot takes that like, I mean, we could do a 2-hour like high school debate over it, but Tug was like, yeah, LeBron's game just like not pretty to me. And I was like, you're a fucking Michael Jordan stan, and you're like the prettiness of the game. Half of the guy's career was spent taking terrible fall away jumpers with a hand in his face.
Well, look, now you're making me think. I know what you're saying about the first retirement Jordan. I still enjoyed his game a lot. I was younger, same kind of thing with the Kobe scenario.
Early Michael Jordan is a totally different story.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm glad he left this call because I had mentioned recently, I don't like here's a prime example. I said the Jason Tatum, when I watch him, this is not a knock at Jason Tatum as a player. I don't enjoy his game nearly as much as even Jaylen Brown.
I don't dislike Jason Tatum's game, but it doesn't move me one way or the other.
But that's my point. Like you take an Anthony Edwards. To me, it's a night and day when you watch Anthony Edwards play and you watch Jason Tatum play.
But the guys I'm listing are guys I hated their game. I don't hate Jason Tatum's game, but I do. It does not move me in one way or the other. Like I'm just like, yeah. I mean, they're like, as a Knicks fan, got like, there's like the love him and hate him guys too. It's like Steph Marbury, like guys who take terrible shots. Steph Marbury, Nate Robinson, like guys who are just like, why are you doing this to me? Those, there'll always be those guys that I kind of hate because of their just like recklessness.
Yeah.
The reckless shot.
Reckless, but also they could be exciting as shit to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Steve Francis.
Yeah. Young Steve Francis was so fun to watch. He was so explosive. Old Steve Francis. There's so many of those guys too, like the point guard.
They're back in that era, man, the early 2000s.
Who was great athletically, then lost a step, got injured or whatever, and then their game becomes like, Gilbert Arenas. Hated watching Gilbert Arenas play. Like
Derrick Rose used to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Derrick Rose, even like that, like he's not fun to watch. Like he's at least adjusted his game, but like Steve Francis post injury, it just becomes like, oh, now you're just shooting a lot in your, like Baron Davis post injury. Like there's a ton of guys out there who you're like, man, you shoot a lot for a guy who's not very good at fucking shooting.
That's true. That was big in that era.
Yeah.
It was really big in that era.
Steph Marbury, they are the people who would like scream at you for not appreciating Steph Marbury would be like, he's a 20-8 guy. And I'm like, cool. He should be an 18-14 guy. He's so fucking like he had the ability, like if he had like dove into being an elite point guard, he could have he truly could have been one of the great point guards of all time because he could shoot. In the modern NBA with like the right coaching, he could have been insane.
Your boy, maybe.
Right. Who I think
did D'Antoni coach him?
Yeah, I think so. And it was like he couldn't get him to fucking.
Well, that's what we talk about, controlling a game, not always with points.
Yeah.
That's what he could have done. And then he, obviously went to China and did his thing. We think the Celtics close it out tonight?
I do. Yeah. I think the Celtics close it out tonight.
And then the MVP still kind of up for grabs right now.
For sure, still up for grabs. I mean, I think we talked about it. I'd say Jaylen Brown's in the driver's seat for that. If you look at it, I think Jason Tatum might have a negative plus minus for the series.
Let's just see the odds. Yep, Jaylen Brown's minus 250. He's the leader right now. Tatum's plus 250. So he is the odds-on favorite. I want to talk about Charles Barkley, man. You think he's really going to retire?
I mean, it sounds like it, right? I'm just trying to fucking fix this window.
Yeah, do you think?
It sounds like it. I understand him saying like because what is he going to shift into? Just doing like college hoops or like?
Well, he could go to a different network.
Can he though?
Yeah,
he's totally free to roam.
I assume.
Okay.
I mean, these guys aren't beholden to.
No, but like they have contracts.
Yeah, but those things don't mean anything. I don't think.
I understand the idea of it being like the team, like how, if he was already thinking about how long do I do this for just generally, let's say he had said to himself, I'm going to do 5 more years. And it's like doing 5 more years for what? Not for like the money, but then also you're not on the TNT crew. Like, is this even happening in Atlanta? Is this even happening, someplace you want? Like, a whole lot of life change potential. Even just like the convenience of it. Like, you've just been doing this thing.
So I want to pose this question. We talked about Jerry West recently, how important he was equally on and off the court.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that holds true for Charles Barkley. In fact, my question is, has he done more for the game, in particular, not just basketball, NBA? I think the argument could be made. I'm not saying it is.
I know where you're going with this, and yes.
That he's done more for the National Basketball Association, not as a player, but as a commentator, and everything that he's brought to the table.
I don't even think it's questionable, to be totally honest.
It's questionable.
Let's say Charles Barkley was so a big part of Charles's post NBA career, and actually a big part of Charles' NBA career, was his personality, right?
Outspoken.
He could have been. I mean, I think you get like, there's a lot of outspoken guys who have personality who aren't good, and therefore no one puts a spotlight on them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like eccentric dudes who bench warm, and it's like whatever. But like, my point is, if you took away everything Charles was able to accomplish in the NBA as a player, but yet somehow kept the persona, somehow kept the attention that he got for his persona, does the game really even change? Like, I mean, this is no knock on Charles Barkley, the player, but like, he didn't win a title. He won a single MVP. He appeared in 1 finals. Like, is the history of basketball, the NBA, is the history of the NBA changed that much if you remove Charles Barkley, the player, from it entirely?
No, I
don't think, and also I don't think there's 20 players in the history of the league that you could say really it does. Maybe it's 25, but in the history of the league, is there more than 25 players that really would have any effect on the league if you remove them entirely? Like, yeah, the league would be drastically different without Magic, Bird, Jordan, Duncan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, Steph, LeBron. But like, I'll be honest, like, I was gonna say Shaq, and then it's like, yeah, I don't like. He was so like one. It's not like
he's
Shaq,
so unique.
Yeah, Shaq didn't change the game because
nobody followed
no one
suit.
Can do what Shaq does. Like,
his athletic.
No one was like,
I'm
gonna go to LSU and just be an actual monstar. You know what I mean? But like,
you're right. No, I agree. I agree.
Kobe and Shaq, because it was in LA and because they won the championships and because whatever, like, yeah, they probably did like change the face of the league in some, but like, who, like, this is no diss on Charles Barkley, but like, think of the other guys in that same era who, like, is the league that different without Karl Malone, who won 2 MVPs and got to 2 finals?
No.
So I think without a doubt, he's done more for growing the game in the internet era, in the TV era. Listen, I just had this. You told me you listened to the Corolla thing, my appearance on Corolla. Obviously, the conversation turned to right-wing grifters, and as much as I was tempted to hold my tongue, I just couldn't. I had to bring up my favorite right-wing grifter in Clay Travis, who obviously is trying to make a name on lying to people that the NBA is going broke because it's gone woke. And the truth is, in sports these days, if no one goes to the game, if 0 people attend games and 0 people buy hot dogs and 0 people buy jerseys, it won't affect you nearly as much as the renegotiating every X amount of years of the TV deal. They, like, literally during COVID, no one went to the games.
For sure. About the TV money in all the leagues.
And so when you talk about the effect on the salary cap, the effect on players, the effect on, like, the league changes with the money provided by the TV. So Charles Barkley, as probably the focal point of inside the NBA, has done more for, like, I could argue that he's done more for the TV deals than all but like maybe 2 or 3 players in the league right now. Like, is there anybody that's done more for the TV deals that play in the league today than Charles Barkley besides Steph and LeBron?
No, and I'll take it one step further. I think that show is it's such like a thing. NBA and TNT is such a thing. And obviously he's the star. He's the star. I know the other guys are great and they're a great team. He's the star.
Yeah.
Because he says wild things, whether you agree or don't agree. He's not scared to speak his mind. He's not scared to call women in San Antonio fat. You know, he's not scared to discuss politics, race, whatever it is. I would say, in fact, I don't know what could come close. There hasn't been go outside of basketball. Let's just talk sports. There hasn't been a sports show that even comes close to what those guys do.
No.
From an entertainment value. Nobody comes close. Now, I think
all the engagement, they putting up the tweets, all that thing, like that's all the stuff that you sell a network on in the TV deal.
For sure.
So, like when you talk about what makes or breaks these leagues, it's the TV deal. It's the fucking TV deal. Like we're like, we might be 5 years away from having a discussion about like, were the Mannings more important to the NFL as broadcasters or as quarterbacks? And those are two guys who have 2 rings each and multiple fucking MVPs.
I was going to say those guys are coming up for sure as kind of the new era of sports commentary, because the old suit model, it just doesn't attract people. People don't care.
Like, here's the equivalent. Here's a football equivalent. And I don't even think this is non-debatable. If you ask me, I think Charles is almost not debatable, but I think this is non-debatable. John Madden won a Super Bowl as a coach. He's infinitely more important after the fact.
As a video game, even.
Yeah, but like the video game was because it was his voice and he's a broadcaster. Like he wasn't on the cover of Madden. Like there's a couple covers of Madden where Madden's on it. He's not on it in a fucking headset and a Raiders jacket. He's on it in a tie with, and they're fucking. He's the call of the game. Boom.
Sure. Yeah. No, for sure. So I got I mean, it's nothing crazy. I got a Charles Barkley story for you.
Okay.
So my girlfriend's dad used to run a convenience store down in Auburn when he was playing there. He used to deal with Charles all the time. So, and he's told me this, and we were talking about it again yesterday. So they were always trying to watch his weight. You know, that was always a thing for Charles Barkley. So
I feel like you may have told this story.
Did I? So yeah, Chuck would come into the convenience store and just load up on the nachos and the sandwich, you know, whatever they're, you know, it's like a 7-Eleven. It's not a 7-Eleven, but it's like the local version.
Pretzels.
And in return, he'd hook him up, he'd hook Brittany's dad up with tickets. But they'd have like spies watching him.
Yeah.
And he said like one day,
Brittany's dad's like, I'm gonna leave a couple buffalo chicken rollers behind the dumpster in the back. Just swing by the parking lot and you're done.
It's not even last night. Like one day, Charles like hightail, like, oh, somebody's coming. Like he hightails up in the back office. It's like you're hiding somebody from the feds. He's hiding. Yeah. He's like, I'm hiding him back there. He's just like eating nachos while this guy walks in. He's like, hey man, have you seen Charles? Have you seen Charles Barkley? He's like, no. Like, you haven't seen him? I thought
it's like that movie Inside Man. Did you ever see Inside Man with Clive Owen?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. Now I can't. You should. You got to watch it, dude. It's an amazing movie. I don't want to spoil Inside Man. If there are people out there who have not seen Inside Man, I'm not the world's biggest Spike Lee fan, but like Inside Man's a good movie with a good little twist. You guys should watch that if you haven't seen it.
Oh, so now you can't reveal it, huh?
Now I can't reveal it, but
well, regardless, he dealt with Charles like all the time at Auburn, and he only was saying good things and how great he is. But it's just funny to hear also the stuff that would go on. You know, this is the 80s, but it doesn't surprise with the players, and he got to know all the players, and obviously, you know, back then there were some good quality SEC teams, and he said Charles would always hook him up with tickets, but he'd be like, "Come on, man, you can't," because he's Northern Kentucky, so he's diehard Kentucky guy. Like,
yeah,
you can't be rooting for Kentucky if I give you tickets? And he's like, but I'm gonna be rooting for Kentucky. Like,
Yeah.
you know where I'm from. Like
Come on, man.
like, what are we doing? But he said guys used to have a whole system with like scalping tickets and the players would give them and like back end money. Like it's just you know, again, it goes back to Guy Lawson of hot dog money. It's like all this stuff that's gone on for so long, and then the NCAA would get hip to it. So you could only have family and friends. And he was telling me they would go to Auburn games when they wanted to see certain teams, and Auburn players would put them down as their cousins. And he'd be like, they're black dudes. And we'd walk up and they'd be like, you're so, yeah, where's cousin? Yeah. And it'd be like me and my like 3 white buddies walking in, like getting our great seats. And we're acting like we're so-and-so's cousin. And they're just like, okay, I guess this works now.
That used to be my go-to move with back in the day, like pre-internet, pre-being able to like really like linked up computers. I'd go to baseball games and I'd go to will call and I'd say I was like, this player left tickets under my name. And you just pick a random guy, you don't go like Francisco Lindor, you just go like some fucking my go-to move was finding a guy who was on the opposing team who was like generally from the area. Like somebody, when I would go to Mets games, it'd be like, find a guy who's from like Long Island or Jersey or whatever, who's coming into town with the Padres. And they'd be like, oh yeah, probably. And like, he would have 10 or 12 tickets that he'd leave for friends. And then they'd just be like, oh, I guess this guy is like 2 that they didn't put on the list.
And that would work.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just like, oh, okay, cool. And they're just like, because then what they would do in those sections, they have a gang of tickets. And, so they give out 12 tickets to his family or whatever. And then somewhere down in the same row, they're like, all right, here's 2 more, whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The pre-internet days.
Yeah. The pre-internet days where everything was like, you can they can just pull up the computer and go like, nah, we have all the names. Like it would be like, okay, that maybe that was emailed to me and I didn't catch it before I got, but like I'm here in my like little ticket booth. I can't like pull up my email right now. Now they'd be like, no, it's not. I just fucking texted him.
The pre-internet days were great for the record.
Yeah.
Sometimes having access to every answer and technology is great, but sometimes it's great, man. The things you could do.
Oh, Billy Bonnell, he's got a great joke. He's like, remember when you could just like lie to people in an argument just by saying, I swear to God.
That's true.
Now you swear to Google. You're like, I swear to Google.
Well, I mean, we're not even that far removed. When you got lost, you're like, how do I get somewhere?
Oh, dude. Classic Mikey and Joe Prano story. We went to the Preakness. And we drove down. We go to the Preakness. We get fucking hammered at the Preakness. And then these like girls invite us they're like, hey, if you give us a ride, like they were like, can you give us a ride home? We're like leaving the Preakness. They're like, we live like 10 minutes from here. Can you give us a ride home? And we were like, I don't know. We're like, and they're like, well, you can take bong hits of us. And we're like, oh, okay. So we go over to their house to rip fucking bong hits. Now we're like drunk and super stoned. And we get in the car to drive back to New York. Reckless. We get in the car to drive back to New York. And I'm driving. And Mikey's got the MapQuest directions in his hand. Yeah. And they literally.
Like the actual book.
No, like printed out.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We went to the internet. We printed out MapQuest directions.
Sure.
He's holding them. And I like go to get on a fucking, go to merge, like step on the gas. And literally the wind just boom, takes them out his hands and out the window. And he looks at me, he's like, that was like out of a movie. And then like for the next hour, we're no like stoned out of our minds, driving. And
it's like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
Here's the funniest part. I have a pretty good sense of direction. Like I generally know where I'm going, but we were so high that we were paranoid that like we would be driving and then every 5 minutes we'd like pull over and be like, oh, we're just trying to like get back to 95 to go back to New York. And they're like, yep, you're going the right way. And be like, oh, okay. And then we drive and I'm like, I think we made a wrong turn. I might be like, I don't even know if we turned. And I'd be like, we're going the wrong way. And then we'd pull over and they're like, yep, you're going the right direction. Like we got like turn by turn directions and I was like somehow nailing them by memory. And we kept pulling over at gas stations. They'd be like, nope, you're going the right way. We're like, oh, okay.
That's hilarious. Got the old printout, which isn't that long ago.
Or like having an atlas in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, when I used to deliver pizza in high school and we had basically like the 3 towns that like my town was inside of, like there was like 3 hamlets that all made up, or 3 villages already made up like the same big town. They had printed out, they'd photocopied or like ripped out of the atlas the whole town and put it up, like taped it to the wall. And then I would have to go and find like the street name and then go like A5 and find the street. And then I'd have to look at it and like memorize how to get there. And then just like I would leave and then from memory. And I would make like multiple deliveries. I'd go out with like 4 deliveries. And in my head, I've already like plotted out how to get there. And I memorize, like, dude, my brain hasn't worked that hard since the internet happened. Plotting the directions based on memory to 4 houses in like different parts of the same town that on streets I've never been to before.
Yeah. I know. I mean, my first Frat Boys of Comedy tour was 2008, all over the country. Had the old school Alex, man. I mean, that's literally what it was. And then that's just when that stuff was coming out on your phone, where you could use maps, and it's again, that's not even 20 years ago.
Here's another fun fucking map quest direction story. I went on the road with my buddy Doug Ray, aka Toothpick, famous for most of my podcast jingles. He was touring. He was opening for Ziggy Marley on tour. And we were essentially following the tour in his Honda Accord. And so my mom had printed us out MapQuest directions from every tour. Like she, like for a day, printed us out like, okay, then you're going to be in this city and then you got to go to here. And these are the roads you're going to take, and printed out all the MapQuest directions. So every day we would have like a new, like 2 sheets stapled together. And we were like, okay, we're going from like fucking Savannah, Georgia to wherever in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. So one day we're driving and we're just like, we're on the highway, and then crazy traffic, like beyond traffic. And I was like, dude, you're going to miss this show. Like, we have to get off the highway and we have to go around this traffic somehow. So we get off the highway and we're like headed in the general direction. And I call my mom and I'm like, dude, you got to talk us through these directions. And I'm driving and I'm like, if we don't pick up the pace, we're like fucked. I'm driving like 110 miles an hour, back roads of like North Florida or whatever. And my mom, like something out of fucking Enemy of the State, is giving me directions via the phone. And she's like, yeah, you're going to come up. And then like when you see Route 112, you're going to take a left. And like, I'm going like 110. And my buddy's like, Route 112. And I was like, lock up the brakes, like fucking skid drift to make a left turn that I almost passed. I was just like, this is insane. This is like literally fucking, what's his name? Remember Enemy of the State with Will Smith and
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. They're like giving directions via the fucking satellite phone. That was wild.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just nuts how, again, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I remember last one quick thing. It's not a crazy story. I remember going to my brother's. I'd never been to his apartment. He was out in the burbs in St. Louis, but we went to his house for a little Super Bowl party when the Rams played the Patriots, the Patriots' first Super Bowl. So this would have been 2001 season, 2002 Super Bowl. Anyway, we got lost driving from campus from St. Louis U. Dude, we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
We pulled over to a payphone for me to call my brother's, I think, either cell phone or his apartment house and be like, hey, man, we're lost. How do we get to your house to watch this game? Like payphone, dude.
Oh, yeah. Lachlan has a great joke about this that he did like years ago now, where he's like, when somebody asks you for directions these days, he's like, you're going to go down, you go 2 red lights, make a left, you're going to see a Wendy's, make a right, you're going to go 2 more lights, and then on your left, you're going to see a Verizon store. Upgrade your fucking shit. Why am I giving you directions? Get a fucking phone, dude.
Yeah, that's funny. So you watched the U.S. Open?
I did. Yeah, it was on yesterday. My issue with golf is it is not enjoyable for me typically to watch on TV, just like generally. So for me, I'll have it on, and I really have not. I really have very limited interest, and I think this is like how women watch like any sports event. But like unless it in the last 2 minutes it's close, like I'm not interested. So all day yesterday, it's on, and pretty quickly into the day, it was like, oh, Rory and Bryson are going to be close down. Like this is going to be back and forth through the end of the through the end of the match. So I was like, okay, cool. Like now I'll watch. So I ended up watching. I think I tuned in, and I think they teed off around 11. Probably tuned in around noon, and then watched for the rest of it. And it was a good finish because these guys were going back and forth, and Rory is this like weirdly, the reason I put this on the rundown, and we've talked about this before, but to me, Rory McIlroy is like maybe the ultimate dork.
Yeah.
Like I cannot root for Rory. And then conversely, people who hate Bryson are like, he's a fucking dork. And I'm like, here's the difference though. I think Rory McIlroy is a fucking dork, and I think Bryson is autistic. I was like, that's different. Like, if you're like autism dorky, like you have like, I don't think Rory has mental illness. I think he's just a fucking dork. So like, I'm rooting Bryson the whole way, and down the stretch, Rory McIlroy like overtakes him, and for like a moment is like 2 strokes up. And in the end loses because he misses putts that Laz would give me if we were playing in 2 of the last 3 holes, 16 and 18. He misses like essentially gimmies.
And he chokes it away.
Full choke.
What's going on with his? It's funny. I think he's a dork, and I didn't like what he said when the whole live thing happened. And he's of course backtracked. He's a total hypocrite. But what's going on with his personal life?
I don't know.
You can follow this like my girlfriend was. So the rumor was that he was getting a divorce, and then he started dating the chick that was always on the Netflix documentary.
Oh, okay.
Full Swing, the golf chick.
Okay.
But then he's getting back with his wife, and maybe. So I thought you'd have some info on this.
I wish I did, because we needed a Tug Coker U.S. Open update. We need Tug Coker here with this Rory tracker.
Yeah, Amanda. She's a golf chick. Amanda
Okay.
Billinois.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm probably butchering
You think I don't? I mean, I doubt that this is something they talked about in the broadcast, but you think I will listen to the golf I don't even listen to the fucking NBA broadcast, let alone the golf broadcast. I know it's psycho shit, and you guys can put it in my Dr. Pepper and coffee pretzels over chips takes. But like yesterday I just bought Sturgill Simpson at the Hollywood Bowl, the Santa Barbara Bowl, the preferred bowl tickets the other day. And I was like, I gotta get myself reacquainted with my boy. So yesterday I just had Sturgill Simpson on shuffle with the golf on in the background. I don't need fucking whoever. Honestly, I don't even know who called it. I don't think Jim Nantz does that shit, but.
Well, this chick was all over Full Swing, and I would always make the joke. I didn't really watch it too closely, but I'd always make the joke. She's got to be banging these players, right?
What, is she like a broadcaster or she's like a golfer?
Yeah, she works.
What's her name? Amanda.
Balionis.
Oh, got it. Interesting. Oh yeah, here's a picture of Rory McIlroy with her.
She works for CBS. She does interviews.
Got it.
So the rumor was that he started dating her.
And then doubled back to his wife?
I don't know if that's true. That's what my girlfriend, she thinks I follow. She's like, well, if you follow what's going on with Rory, I was like, no. Like, Rory's the biggest dork.
But yeah, super dork, choked, and like, cool. Like, I mean, listen, the fact of the matter is, like, a lot of these golfers are fucking dorks. Like, everybody, everybody forever was on, what's his name? The American dude who won.
Tiger Woods.
No.
Okay.
Oh God, the fucking douche bro. Why am I blanking on his name?
Brooks Koepka.
Brooks Koepka. Everybody's like, oh, man. Like, if I could live anybody's life, I'd be Brooks Koepka. I'd be like, fucking Brooks Koepka is the fucking kid from high school who like thought he was cool because he worked at Abercrombie and got free.
Brooks Koepka is Ski Dog if Ski Dog was a good golfer.
Yeah. Brooks Koepka was like, my job at fucking Abercrombie, sick, dude. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think they're all like, there's not a lot of these guys that are fucking cool, but Rory just seems like the ultimate dork. I just can't root for it. It's just like his face. He's got punchable. He's got that Great Britain fucking punchable face.
So another live guy wins another major.
Yeah.
What is happening there? Are they still merging? I feel like this has been going on forever, these talks.
I don't fucking know. Andy, I watched the end of the event. Rory McIlroy choked. Outside of that, I don't really have a lot of golf updates for you. We're gonna need Tug on for the live tracker.
Rory don't care enough.
Well, we haven't had Tug on in a while anyway.
Don't care enough about the live tracker, to be honest. We can bring Tug on and just talk about how Jordan's game. You can roast him on Jordan's game versus LeBron's game. I saw you added a baseball thing to the rundown as well.
Well, yeah.
Little Mookie Betts getting beaned.
I mean, I guess my question for you, and I know that you don't really care for baseball at all either. It's like I've had a lot of stuff to the rundown you couldn't care less about. But also at the same time, I was like, we don't even like the last NBA Finals game was a blowout. Next one's not till tonight. Like, I don't know how far can we stretch out? Is Jaylen Brown going to win the fucking MVP?
Look at us. We're 53 minutes and change in, dude. It just flows naturally.
Yeah. I guess the question is like, and it's not even really a question. I think the answer is no, but Mookie Betts obviously, or not obviously, but arguably the Dodgers' best player, even with the addition of Shohei Ohtani, who's not able to pitch right now. You know, they're like hurt, broken hand, hit by pitch, broken hand. That's usually a month and a half. Like he's probably going to be in a cast. Does this have any effect on the Dodgers season whatsoever? And I think no, they're just like kind of, I mean, they're 8 games up in the NL West right now. And it really feels like in the long run, sometimes it's like, well, now the dude's just going to get like 25 freebie games off.
Where are you saying like it helps them?
No, I don't think it helps them, but it like, I mean, it hurts them, but like, would you, if you were a Dodger fan, would you have any concern at all that Mookie Betts is about to miss a month?
Well, not if they're 8 games up.
Right. which is just like
who's in second? Is
I-
Arizona in second or San Francisco?
Probably
Or the
probably
Padres?
probably San Diego. Although the Mets, they got swept by the Mets this weekend, so I don't know how that adjusted them in the standings. But yeah, so they're still in second. Arizona and San Francisco are a half game back of them.
But that was a pretty good division last year, right? Because Arizona
Yeah.
went to the World Series.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just getting farther and farther removed from this game. Which is ironic because I have so much red stuff in back of me and I'm wearing a 70, in the 70s.
Yeah. Is that a
shirt.
new Big Red Machines shirt?
No, I've had it.
I like those. That's one of my favorite styles of shirt is the ampersand shirt, as they're called.
I did get Brittany's dad. He just finished.
Let's see. So we got Pete Rose, Ken Griffey,
Yeah.
Joe Morgan, Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, George Foster, Davey Lopes,
Concepcion.
Dave Concepcion. All right, yeah. Cesar, I don't know who that is.
Cesar Geronimo.
Okay, and Sparky Anderson.
Yeah. Back when they were like, "Where are you going to go?" You're like, "To a title." That's where you're going to go.
Yeah.
To the World Series again. But a book, Brittany's dad, he just finished it. And I was like, when did this come out? It's a book about Pete Rose. I guess it's an updated. It's called Charlie Hustle. And I think it's about his whole life. And I was like, oh, I was like, I don't know how interested I would be, but on the back, when it lists people who say like, this is such a great book, it was written by Keith O'Brien, New York Times writer. Jeff Pearlman had a real nice review on the back cover, like saying how great this book is. So I was like, okay, maybe 350
Maybe I'll give it a
pages.
chance, yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, and it's not. I don't think it's not fluff. It's kind of like how his books are.
Right,
So it's like,
right.
let's get into the bare bones of his history of, he is from Cincinnati and the whole thing and just everything that's happened with this guy's life. And
Yeah.
it goes through everything, all that stuff, the scandals. And
It's kind of, you're sort of attesting too. It's like, if you don't read it, who the fuck's reading it?
yeah.
I mean, I guess there's huge Reds fans out there, but like outside of just like huge Reds fans, like if it's not reading like once removed Reds fans is reading it. Jeff Pearlman, by the way, we swung and missed on him being on the show. I'm trying to reschedule with him. He was supposed to come on recently, and then we moved the date of the show, and I forgot to reach out to him. But he's getting he's got some people angry on TikTok because he posted this video, and it's so funny. This is like the state of the world we live in today. And I want to talk about, I know you had Trevor Lawrence's contract at the top of this, because I want to talk about this, the great segue into that. But the way people just like hate facts. Jeff Pearlman was a Sports Illustrated writer who was in locker rooms talking to teammates. And he tells a story about how White Sox teammates were super frustrated by Frank Thomas because he kind of put himself and his statistics above the team. That when he would come up in big moments of the game, guys on, whatever, maybe there's a base open, and instead of intentionally walking him, they would, quote unquote, pitch around him, if you will, and, nibble at the corners. And it would get super frustrating for White Sox fans that he was like very happy to accept his walk instead of maybe just ever so slightly reaching out of his comfort zone at the plate to try to be the guy who drives in runs. And I mean, people just like fucking ruining his mentions, being like, fuck you, you fucking.
Well, I have it. Why don't I just play it?
Yeah.
So I have it here. Hold on.
By the way, follow Jeff on TikTok. He's recounting a lot of like old stories from his MLB covering days, and they're great. He gives a lot of like really cool insights.
So he just said the caption is, before I pull it up, Frank Thomas was the most selfish player I covered.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what he has to say on here.
In honor of Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas was one of the 5 most talented players I ever covered. He also was hands down the most selfish, and one of the most disliked in the clubhouse. With rare exception, White Sox teammates couldn't stand him. Frank Thomas refused to hit fourth when managers wanted to hit him fourth because he insisted on hitting third. So there were literally the arguments that he ultimately would win, but he would refuse to hit fourth in the lineup. He was a horribly selfish hitter. He valued his on-base percentage above all else, including winning. No question about it. So let's say he was up and it was a situation where he needed to swing pitches slightly off the plate, wouldn't do it, just refused to do it. Would take walk after walk after walk, even if they were pitching him somewhat close and he could reach his arms out, wouldn't do it. And it drove teammates crazy, it drove managers crazy. Facts.
So then he's got a follow-up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the reaction to that Frank Thomas video, the negative reaction, is fucking insane. I was covering baseball. This is not something I'm inventing. I was covering baseball. I was writing a lot about the White Sox. In the White Sox clubhouse, there were a lot of players who were pissed off because their star would not sacrifice for the team. And there are moments in baseball where you don't want to walk, where you actually want your best hitter at the plate, and you might have to extend his arms and reach outside a little bit. If a pitcher's nibbling, and you have runners in scoring position, and first base is open, and they're kind of pitching around you, kind of not, you want your guy taking a shot. He's your best hitter by far. So this isn't me making it up. People are actually on the White Sox very, very frustrated with Frank Thomas and his lack of any sort of willingness to give anything for the team. He was a stats first guy.
So what I wanted to say is like the world we live in today, you know, one of my favorite Andy Ruther creations in history is Facts Only. And it's like all the comments like, oh, so stupid. Walks are good. And it's like, he's telling you what the players told him. He's telling you what this guy's teammates said to a reporter in their locker room. And you're arguing with him like that doesn't make him selfish. It's like he's telling you his teammates thought he was selfish, and you're saying, walks as good as a hit. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Well, it's you know, obviously he wrote 3-Ring Circus following the 3-peat Lakers. It's the same people who want to go under my Facts Only Kobe Bryant video and say every player, blah, 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 this and that would say Kobe's a top 5, but they wouldn't. There's literally a book out there where he interviews the guys who played with Kobe Bryant. Shaq did an about face. A lot of them did because he died tragically. But like, that's the thing. The you know, you're going directly to the horse's mouth.
Right.
Guys who played with Frank Thomas.
And it's just amazing that guys, it's just amazing the way sports fans like insist on denying, like you're like, why are you telling a guy who interviewed the people that his teammates didn't think that about him?
But let's look at TikTok.
But I'm sending you this. This is a segue into the conversation I want to have about Trevor Lawrence, because sorry, I sent you the wrong one. I sent you a screenshot. I then found the actual thing. It's like I was getting into some arguments on Twitter the other day, and it's like, again, I've made my feelings on Daniel Jones pretty clear. Like, I thought the Daniel Jones contract was I thought he was overpaid. And then at the same time, I'm like, they didn't make him the highest paid player in fucking football, which it seems like every quarterback that signs is. Like, he's done after this season, and our fans are like, take the fucking L. And I'm like, okay, I'm saying he's mediocre and we overpaid him, but also I don't usually, I know you guys want me to, but it's like, I'm also not big on judging guys without the context of what kind of team is he on? What kind of whatever, like, everybody, we can either pick the lane of like statistics matter or statistics don't matter, or all kind of matters a little bit. But it's like, we all agree Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. Even if Brock Purdy's stats say he was the best quarterback in football this last year, because we have context, right? We have the context of the quality of teams that they were on, the offensive weapons that they had, whatever. Now, I tweeted the other day, if Daniel Jones is overpaid, what does that make Trevor Lawrence? And then I put this graphic up, which I had seen come across my feed, and which, again, facts only, through the start of Trevor Lawrence's career, his statistics are identical to the start of Daniel Jones' career in the exact same number of games.
Okay, so Trevor Lawrence gets a new contract. He getting $200 million guaranteed.
Yep.
So I just want to backtrack for a second. These are the highest guaranteed contracts ever for quarterbacks.
Ever.
Deshaun Watson, 230, Joe Burrow, 219, Mahomes, 208. Lawrence is fourth. So he's behind Watson, Burrow, Mahomes.
And also, AAV, he now gets the highest single, like he's getting the highest season total this year. Like he's at 55.1 million or whatever, and Joe Burrow's at 55. Like he's the highest paid player in football.
So here's my thing with these contracts. But one, he's overpaid. So one playoff win. He regressed last year.
He didn't regress. Out of context. But he did.
But here's my thing. The ceiling, I would emphatically argue the ceiling for Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, is much higher than Daniel Jones.
Of course. No one's arguing he's not.
Okay, so we agree.
Also, just for the record, he's getting paid double.
So the ceiling is higher for Trevor Lawrence. But here's the thing. He's played, obviously, his first 2 years were rough. He improved. He took a step back last year. He was also injured last year. Not making excuses because injuries are part of the game. I was surprised personally when I saw this amount of money because
and now they're saying Dak's can get $60 million. And this idea that, listen, I agree somewhat of you, like the money just going to keep going up. And again, this is why the Minnesota Vikings losers, who now don't care about Kirk Cousins anymore, that he's been gone, who got my mentions and called our show and whatever, should kill themselves. This is why you guys should kill yourselves, because the $40 million that Kirk Cousins got when he signed with the Vikings is different than the $40 million Daniel Jones got last year. It's a different fucking number. $55 million for Trevor Lawrence is a different $55 million than whoever got it 3 years ago. So it's a different $55 million than Joe Burrow. I understand that these numbers just keep going up. That being said, I think the move, if you're an NFL GM these days, has to be, hey, I don't really give a shit what is happening with the salary cap. I'm not going to pay you more than a player that I'm not going to pay you significantly more than a player I don't think you're better than. The end. If I'm an NFL GM and I've got to re-sign my quarterback, whether it be Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott or whoever, I'm going to be like, I'm not paying you more than Patrick Mahomes. The end.
Yeah.
We can get fancy with the fucking AAV, and we can get fancy with the fucking guarantee, and we can get fancy with the no trade clause, and we can get fancy with the when you can renegotiate, and we can get fancy with incentives, and we can get fancy with player option, and we can get fancy. But you're not going to make more money playing quarterback for me than Patrick Mahomes gets paid playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, because he's better than you, and his number makes them able to still win the championship. So to me, and I know everybody's saying now, what's Dak going to get? What's Dak going to get? First of all, I don't think Dak Prescott is better than Trevor Lawrence. I don't.
Well, first of all, not just Patrick Mahomes, by the way. I'm not paying Trevor Lawrence more than Joe Burrow.
Right.
Like now I know guaranteed he's not. Neither same way with Mahomes, he's not making more guaranteed. At some point, it's kind of like the running back in whatever situation. At some point, you just gonna say, dude, you're not better than these guys.
And I was arguing with somebody on, because I tweeted that, and I'm arguing with somebody, and again, I don't think Daniel Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence. I don't. But facts only. Facts only. They're statistically comparable players. Daniel Jones has been on a worse team throughout his career. The first year of Trevor Lawrence, when he had Urban Meyer, it was a nightmare. But like still talent-wise, offensive line-wise, weapons-wise, all the things. Trevor Lawrence has been on better teams. Statistically, they're comparable players. He's getting paid significantly more. And somebody said, so in a vacuum, you're taking Daniel Jones over Trevor Lawrence? Of course not. Of course not. But guess what? If I'm going to overpay my quarterback, I'm going to overpay my quarterback a lot less, and I'm going to be out after next season. I understand that the Jaguars have to pay Trevor Lawrence, and of course they should have extended Trevor Lawrence, and of course whatever, but it's like, are you helping yourself win? The AFC South that you didn't win last year with CJ Stroud on a rookie contract by giving Trevor Lawrence $55 million a year.
Well, so if you look at the top guarantees right now, your top guarantees for quarterback, most of the guys on this list, I'm going, why are they getting this much? Deshaun Watson, 230. That's been a debacle. Again, you have, here's what's interesting on this list. You have Burrow next at 219, Mahomes at 208, Lawrence at 200, Herbert, who's never won a playoff game. I love Herbert, but he's still that dude. He's at 193. Kyler Murray's never won a playoff game. He's at 189. I'm saying you could argue a lot of these guys are overpaid.
Yeah.
Outside of Burrow and Mahomes, I would personally argue.
Also, guess what, Andy? Joe Burrow's overpaid.
Probably.
He's getting paid a significant, like when you look at the highest paid QB, again, on average annual value, if you're getting paid more than Patrick Mahomes, you're overpaid.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's the best quarterback in the league, and it's not close. And he didn't sign his deal 10 years ago. And they're winning the championship.
Yeah. It's tough to justify anybody making more than Patrick.
I have a couple Eagles fans friends, and I'm just like, somebody, one of my buddies the other day texted me, he's like, our number 2, and he's talking about wide receivers is better than your number 1. He's showing me like Devontae Smith footwork clips. I'm like,
that's the most NFL fan text, footwork clips.
And I'm like, I mean, he's your number 2, whatever. But I was like, you're paying him. You're paying AJ Brown. You're overpaying Jalen Hurts. And I was like, by the way, you're going to love Saquon Barkley. You're going to love him. He's a great player. Also, you're overpaying him. So you're overpaying your running back, you're overpaying 2 receivers, and you're overpaying your quarterback. I was like, it's going to be really fun for you to watch, but I have no fear whatsoever in you guys winning the Super Bowl because there's just no money for your defense or your offensive line at this point.
And
we're young on defense. Oh, cool. Yeah, I think that's the old saying. Young defenses win championships.
NFL fans fascinate me. As a guy who loves the NFL, I love this season. Dude, I mean, you see it. These fans who get turned over their own team's social media, like you're saying, posting footwork or a deep fade with nobody covering. Oh my God. Did you see that? Dude, it's a practice. It's a 7-on-7.
Yeah.
I'll just say NFL fans have been so brainwashed into liking every little thing. And again, I'm Mr. NFL. Guys, can we just wait till the actual season starts?
No, God, no. When the season starts, you get
32 observations, Joe, from each team after mandatory workouts. What? Like all these publications, ESPN did it, The Athletic did it. 32 observations, one for each team after OTAs.
I mean, that doesn't even seem crazy. My fucking friend is sending me fucking footwork videos he's jacking off to. Like, the Athletic and ESPN and fucking, Pro Football, they're just giving the people what they want.
100%. Who's lose their shit.
But you go back to the original topic. It's like, does this help the Jet? Like, it's also 55 million, 200 guarantee. It's like it's a 4-year deal, right? Or is it a 5-year deal? Like, does this help? I understand 5 years from now, when the TV money and this and the cap goes to this and whatever, it's not going to be that much money. The same way Daniel Jones 40 million isn't the same as Kirk Cousins 40 million when he signed with the Vikings. But it's literally the anti rookie contract fucking.
Well,
like the Jags didn't win the fucking division last year.
No, but that's my point. Right now, on paper, without even looking at it, in the AFC, I'd have the Jags behind the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Texans. That's off the top of my head. Miami. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah, Miami might be a questionable.
Maybe.
And the Chargers maybe are questionable at this point. But
at
the same time, it's just I simultaneously go, you have to pay these guys, but there has to be a ceiling to it. It can't just be the quarterback who comes up for the deal becomes the highest paid player in the history of the game. Like, I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, if you pay Dak Prescott the most money that's ever been paid for a quarterback guaranteed, like, I'm gonna have the same feeling I have about the Eagles paying Jalen Hurts a number that will eventually be $60 million a year. I'm going to sit back, smoke a cigar, and be like, well, at least my quarterback's fucking deal is up next year.
I don't think they will. Nobody's really come close to that Deshaun Watson deal. Every owner and team distanced themselves from that deal because it was so ludicrous. I don't think they're going to come close to that.
I mean, he's 235, right?
He's 230.
230.
Burrow's 219.
And Trevor Lawrence, who just signed, is 200.
200.
So is Dak going to be between 200 and 230? Is he going to be 215?
He's probably closer to 215.
That's insane to me.
I agree. It's insane. But I think that's what will happen. Hard Knocks is right around the corner.
Yeah. Who's Hard Knocks?
Who is Hard Knocks?
It's not the Giants. Have we not?
We haven't talked about. No, they're doing the off-season Hard Knocks for the Giants,
right?
Which starts July 2nd.
Let's go.
That's where they document the off-season.
Yeah,
it's the Bears.
The Bears. That's right. What pressure?
They have Caleb Williams in there getting.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until. I'm telling you right now. I'm going in between episodes 2 and 3 of the Bears Hard Knocks is when I'm going to bet they're under. That's when everybody will be like, I think the Bears might be fucking good this year.
And everyone will forget about the Packers and how Jordan Love just came on last year.
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
Yeah. That's my favorite. My favorite is 2 episodes in when the entire world convinces themselves because of a documentary that team is, I don't know, dude. This Miami team with Chad Johnson and Ryan Tannehill, they might be elite. And you're like, I can't wait to bet the under.
Let's bang out a call and we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
310-359-8365. That is the hotline. Give us a ring. Let us know what you think.
Hey, John, 218 here. Question for you guys. If you had to go on a reality TV show, which one would you go on? Most of them are like dating shows now, it seems like. So you're both in relationships, so guessing not one of those. The other thing is you have to try and win it. So like a competition one, like Joe, you can't go on Survivor and like tank and get voted out on like the first day and then just like surf for the rest of the month, you know? And I'll include past or present reality TV shows. So let me know what you guys think. Stay dirty.
Well, I mean, I think back in the day, I would have been great on a dating one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the 6-pack dude, which she's always watching the dating ones, which I want to say this. I'm glad we got this call because I said this the other day. What's the one she's watching now? What's the one where they match them? I mean, they're all matching. The one on Netflix where it's people who've been on other dating ones.
Oh, yeah. Too hot to handle or some shit like that.
I don't think it's that one. Nick Lachey hosted it.
Yeah. My girl's watching it too.
Yeah.
It's like the spillovers from the fucking Love is Blind and the
yes.
Yeah.
So I said to her, I said, I don't get these dudes. Why doesn't they're all fakers. I don't know how the producers would handle this. Why isn't there a guy who goes on these shows in front of the camera when he's in the confessional just says, I'm here to fuck as many girls as possible. I'm not here to like, how come has there ever been a dude? I don't think I've ever seen it who's just like, I'm here to bang as many hot chicks as possible. I'm not looking for anything serious.
This is why you would be disaster on it. I love that you don't reality shows are not reality shows.
Sure.
Everything is so like, don't tell a producer anything that you don't want that producer going, Andy is in the fucking confessional thing. He's just here to bag as many chicks as possible. And then it's like, a teammate, is it true you said you bang it? You trust you to bang as many people as possible? Some British chick.
I'm just saying,
You need to slag off. Or whatever the fuck they say.
Why is that? I think that might be a different show, or is that the same show?
I know what you're talking about.
The British voiceover.
No, well, I think there's the show that you're talking about. Also looks a lot like that show that was like
it's very confusing.
Fuckboy Island, but that
Yes.
Fuckboy Island was also the American version of like whatever the British show was. But now it's all coming. But now we like there's. On this show that your girl and my girl are both simultaneous watching, there's like already a bunch of British people.
Yes.
There's like a bunch of British people on it.
Is this the perfect match? Which one is this one?
Which one? What? The one we're talking about?
I don't even know which one we're talking about.
I don't know either. We're both talking about the same show though.
Okay. So yeah, but hold on. If you're already cast, you couldn't just go on there and be like, yo, I know I got matched today with Bridget and she's hot and I'm trying to smash. And then next week I'm gonna try to go on to India and smash her. You don't think, what are they gonna do if you're already on the island or wherever?
I think that they're gonna tell they're gonna whisper it to some chick and then she's gonna be like, is it true, Andy, that you said that you're just here to bang chicks? And you're like, no, I didn't say that. And then they'll be like, well, and then fucking Ted's gonna be like, you did say that to me, dude. And then you're like, fuck, why did I tell the producers and Ted I was just here to bang chicks? That's why I think the ones I think I would be good on is I think Big Brother, more than Survivor, but the Big Brother / Survivor one, because I'll fucking, dude, everybody's gonna fucking, I'm gonna be like, dude, yeah. I'll lie to everybody. I'm gonna make all the fucking, all the backdoor deals. I got your back, bro. And then in the end, I'm just gonna stab them all in the back.
I've been told I'd be good on Big Brother. I've never watched it. I don't even know what it's about.
I think I'd be better on Big Brother than Survivor, because like the catch with Big Brother is like, oh, you're trapped in this house. Like, great. Can't wait to be trapped in a house. I actually was almost cast on the original Big Brother. I went through multiple rounds of casting for the original Big Brother. Didn't end up getting picked. The guy who did win it, we've talked about this before, is the guy who works at Big Dean's and has one leg.
That's hilarious. There's just too many now. Back in the day, I always wanted to be on the Fifth Wheel, Blind Date, or Eliminate. Like the one-off episodes.
Yeah. I think I do great on Big Brother. What, like forming alliances and then stabbing people in the back. I think it'd be great.
I'm just trying to think of the other ones. Like, I'd be good to talk shit about people and then spread the rumors and then get the drama going. I guess that's kind of Big Brother, right?
Yeah.
So when you're on Big Brother, you don't know anything about the outside world. You have no clue what's going on.
Right.
Like they say people didn't know 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Right.
When they were on Big Brother. You're just in that CBS studio or whoever the fuck it is.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's too many of them.
I think I'd be good at the Big Brother, the Survivor, the form the alliance and then stab motherfucker, glad hand some people, be real likable. I just won't talk sports because it's the only time. I get along with everybody except people when I'm like, yeah, fucking Trevor Lawrence is overrated. Kill yourself. And I won't mention that I prefer pretzels to chips.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, there's some hot chicks in these shows, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
we'd be terrible on them now because we're old as fuck.
Oh, they'd be like, who's this dad bod, hairy chested motherfucker? Get this guy out of here. Old ass dude. I mean, every dude on there has like a six pack.
Yeah.
Really dumb people, though. Like the dumbest of the dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway, 310-359-8365. Give us a ring. And we'll get on to that note.
Go on to my Instagram today. 3 stories are up, all with links. July 11th, Olson Run, Eugene, Oregon. Friend of the show, Crystal Marie, will be opening for me up there in Eugene, Oregon. Then I've got July 19th, Poughkeepsie, New York. Laugh It Up Comedy Club in Poughkeepsie. Rob Christensen, really funny comic, and Pete Sestaro will be opening for me there. And then July 26th, 27th, and 28th, Yonkers Comedy Club in Yonkers, New York. All those links are on my Instagram story today. They're all also in my link tree on my Instagram bio. I'll be in Vegas first couple weeks of August at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club. So come see me. I'll also be opening for Lachlan Patterson July 5th, my birthday, Friday, July 5th in Oxnard, Levity Live Oxnard. So come to those shows or just give me a follow on my social media at Joe Prano. And yeah, that's it.
Word. You guys know where to follow us. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed on Substack. Go ahead and give us a follow there. You can follow me at Andy Ruther. And I've decided Wednesday will be new episodes for the Andy Ruther show. We're going to go Wednesdays. So
let's go.
I was toying around, did some Fridays, did some Wednesdays. Wednesdays
are when they're going to drop or when they're going to record?
Wednesdays are when they're going to drop.
Okay, cool.
So new episodes between Dirty Sports. So, and they're not too long. So you guys can give that a listen there. All right, guys, that's the show. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back on Thursday. Have a great start to your week. And as always, stay dirty.